Today I'm going to cover the topic of gold and silver. A lot is going on with gold and silver. They are going to new highs, and in the world of investments, gold and silver are starting to stand out. I won't go into the implications of the banking system and what that means for banking, but prices are going up. So I want to cover two things. One, how the laws are changing that will actually allow them to be something very equivalent to legal tender. In other words, we will be able, and I'll go through the detail of this, to buy and sell using gold and silver. And I'll explain the detail on that. You may know about it, you may not. The second, and I'm going to start with this one, and it is on my son, who is a retailer in gold and silver. And what I've learned about him and how he's doing business that makes his prices so incredibly low. So this is a little bit of a shameless plug. That does help him, but I think it will help you if you're interested in that subject. My son's name is Preston. He lives in Gallatin, Tennessee. Gallatin is north of Nashville, so I would not call it a suburb, but it's a neighboring city, a small town north of Nashville. He has a retail shop on Main Street, the main drag in Gallatin. And he has been in business there less than a year. The reason his prices are so low is that he has no overhead except for rent. And his rent is extremely low. I'm not going to quote it, but it's a very low rent because it's a small town. And he has no salaries. He has no advertising, and he has no debt. So whatever he sells, he can sell it for very, very low prices. And what he makes out of it is he gets what's left at the end of the month. And that's the way it is when you're a small business. You pay your expenses first, and you get what's left over. But his expenses are so low that he's able to keep his prices extremely low and have a modest lifestyle. His prices are so low, it's kind of like there is a large company in that business called SD Bullion. And if you are a buyer of gold and silver, you may have heard of them. And I think of them like the Amazon of kind of the Amazon of gold and silver. However, there are some caveats. First of all, he has to sell it in quantities of 500 or more, which is a monster box. If it's less than 500, let's say it's a tube or 100 or whatever, that I can't say, and he can't say that he could guarantee that the price will be lower than SD Bullion. It might be, but it might be slightly over that. But I know at 500 in a monster box, he's able to beat their prices. And I checked it again this morning, and his prices are below theirs. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't even know that. And then what he does, on the shipping, because some people, buy it remotely and he ships it. But what he does on the monster boxes is he calls the order into the wholesaler drop ships it to the customer and does not charge him shipping. And of course there's no sales tax, and it's insured. So insured, no sales tax, and no postage. Pretty amazing, at a price below SD Bullion. I go, but because he doesn't advertise, he's not going to put that word out there. So I just thought I would just tell you, my audience, because I know some of you actually do buy that, and in that world, particularly in the bullion area or even silver eagles, people are looking for the best price because the product is the same no matter where you buy it. So that's my 2 cents on that, and I'm glad to give that. I'm putting his name or his name and his phone number on here so that if you're interested, give him a call, talk to him, whatever about your situation. He does have collectibles and other precious metals and so forth. But I just wanted to focus on that one because the monster box of silver bullion or even gold eagle or silver eagles is not uncommon. It's kind of a way that a lot of people buy it. Okay, now I want to shift gears and go into something I learned this week. Didn't know about this. Recently, I believe it was in the last month, the state of Florida passed a law that effectively makes silver or gold, or silver and gold, legal tender or the equivalent of legal tender in that state. So in other words, you can use dollars, or however everything is done in dollars, or you could use gold or silver depending on what you buy. It could be anything from a car to camera or groceries or whatever, as long as that retailer agrees to accept that, and of course you agree as well. So you could still use dollars. It's not a requirement, it's an option. But what's happening is this is the beginning of what I see as a state-by-state process to move away from the U.S. dollar, which has been depreciating quite a bit, and go over to an alternative currency. In other words, the dollar does not have to collapse for you to be able to do this. Now, I've told you before, I do buy silver, and I don't plan on using my silver for that purpose. I'm going to use dollars. And the reason is I'm going to save my silver in case there is a collapse. It's my insurance policy. So, but if I ever wanted to or needed to, I could use silver. Now, that's the state of Florida. They will come out with some rules around it about, under what conditions and how you do it. I think what I was reading was that they're going to come out with an app, and this was more in Texas, but come out with an app which is backed by gold and silver, and they put that in a depository in that state, and so it's basically backed by gold and silver, but you don't have to carry it around in your pocket. And so anyway, I'm going to show you that, and then following this, I'm going to show you one for the state of Texas, and they have just passed a law. Florida's goes into effect July of 2026, so about a year from now, and Texas goes into effect May of 2027. And I'll cover Texas after you watch this. But anyway, I wanted to show you this piece just so you can see that this is coming, and there's a lot of benefits. I think the one in Texas goes into quite a bit of the benefits of being able to use it this way instead of the dollar. So take a listen to this.
Floridians, you're going to soon be able to see some bills with gold or silver coin under a new law. Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill yesterday that would allow people to use gold or silver as legal tender in the state. The governor said only 2 states have done it, and it would make Florida the largest state to do it so far.
This legislation will authorize money services business like check cashers or PayPal to transmit and accept payment in gold and silver. That means these precious metals can start functioning like real currency again, not just investment vehicles for the wealthy.
The new rules would have to be ratified by the state legislature. If lawmakers agree, the law would take effect as soon as July 1st of next year.
So now I'm going to show this one from Texas. It has a lot more detail in it. So these kind of come off a little bit as commercials, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, you think of, we went away in 1971. We went away from the gold standard. It's kind of like bringing us back to that, and but not exactly, but allowing us to be able to conduct business using precious metals if we want to. I think there's going to be, these are 2 very big states. I think there are going to be some other states that follow, and maybe if it gets momentum, it'll be a state-by-state thing, not a requirement. Some states may not want to do that, but I think Florida and Texas are kind of forward-looking as they do this, and of course I don't live in Florida or Texas, and I'm not planning to, but I think, and I live in Montana, so I think, at some point this could happen in Montana. So, so take a listen to this piece.
If you've been paying attention to our videos, you would know this is happening because the dollar is doing a nosedive. In fact, customers I speak to believe that the dollar is becoming our biggest financial threat. As of June 22, 2025, Texas passed House Bill 1056, and it's now law. This bill recognizes gold and silver as legal tender and authorizes a digital payment system linked to the bullion held in the Texas Bullion Depository. Like Florida, Texas will recognize gold and silver as legal tender. But what does that all really mean? Soon, Texans will be able to use state-backed debit cards or mobile apps to pay for groceries, gas, even their mortgage with gold and silver instead of dollars. That's two of the biggest states in the country openly opting out of fiat currency, and the list is growing. Utah has recognized gold and silver as currency for over a decade. Missouri just passed legislation protecting gold and silver transactions. And South Carolina has taken steps to promote gold and silver as sound money. It seems as though more and more states are starting to see the writing on the wall. Simply put, the dollar isn't what it used to be. Since 1971, when we were taken off the gold standard, the dollar has lost value at a rapid rate. The dollar just had its worst first 6 months in over 50 years. The US dollar has lost 87% of its purchasing power since then, and the problem is accelerating. This year, Washington crossed $36 trillion in debt. Interest payments alone are now higher than our defense budget. In the same 50-year period, gold is up over 1,500%. The administration just increased the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Obviously, government has no plans to stop spending, so the money printing won't stop either, because it can't. That's why more and more states are making bold moves towards gold and silver. They're not waiting around to see what will happen. They're getting prepared. Shouldn't we?
Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you learned some things that you did not know. And if you've not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out and helps get the channel out there. And thank you for watching.